at 10, Minneapolis business owners team up to try to take back their streets.
We've been on the front line for quite a while.
Tonight, how they're tracking crime right outside their doors and what they want the city to do about it. Plus, the Minneapolis Children's Theater and 2 major players sued.
A lawsuit accuses a prominent Twin Cities businessman of sexual assault from his time in the 1980s with the Children's Theater.
And Mary Tyler Moore's statue going back on display downtown. Thanks for joining us. Randy is off tonight. Fed up by an increase in crime, a group of Minneapolis business owners is taking action to take back the city they love. They formed a group called Citizens for a Safer City. Over the summer, they decided to catch on camera the illegal behavior happening right outside their doors. Jay Olstead joins us with more. Jay?
Yeah, Julie, the mayor's office says over the last 2 years, violent crime in Minneapolis has increased by nearly 9%. And now several business owners have joined forces capturing video of that violence in hopes of putting pressure on political leaders.
We should be able to come downtown and walk around.
You are watching video of violence in downtown Minneapolis given to KARE 11 by a group of upset business owners.
You saw people in the video just scrambling.
Prominent real estate investors and business owner Ken Sherman is leading an effort called Citizens for a Safer City. He says this past summer, he and other business owners set up surveillance cameras and hired a photographer to seek out bad behavior they say they witness frequently near 5th and Hennepin.
Maybe we put enough pressure politically to get something done.
Recently, he played that video in a presentation to a group of people who work and live downtown. It included security camera video that shows a shooting over the summer where 6 people were hit but survived. Another of an assault where someone was punched and kicked near Augie's Cabaret.
I don't think that the mayor or the city council really understands what's going on down here.
He's joined forces with others in the community who want the mayor and city leaders to put more officers on the streets.
We do a great job ourselves, just with ourselves. But if we had just a little support in the things that we can't do, it'd be great.
Mayor Betsy Hodges was unavailable to do an interview today, but her office says she's met with the business owners multiple times. And in response, they say police have added more officers to patrol during bar close and put more reserve officers on the street during the busy summer months.
Violent crime is wrong.
And last month, the mayor, along with the police chief and Hennepin County attorney, announced a new violent crime task force.
Focusing our investigative resources on violent crimes will allow us to more effectively track patterns and connect dots.
We're going to make our streets safe.
Yet this group says that's not nearly enough.
This group right here is invested in this city. We're not going anywhere. We're invested here. We're not giving up.
Now, to that end, they put together a website where they'll be posting any other video they find of violence in downtown Minneapolis. In a statement today, Minneapolis Police Chief Janae Harteau said they value the relationship they have with the downtown business owners and will continue to work with them. That said, a police spokesperson said that during the shooting last summer, where a number of people were hit, they said 18 police officers were down in that area and were able to arrest 3 people shortly thereafter. Julie?
All right. Thank you, Jay. Well, a nearly day-long Black Lives Matter protest in downtown Minneapolis is over, with many of the supporters back outside the police department's 4th precinct in North Minneapolis.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Justice!
Clergy and faith leaders supported protesters who called for the city to release tapes showing the Jamar Clark shooting. They also demanded the direct prosecution of the officers involved, skipping a grand jury.
I was a young activist once, and I remember the incredibly harsh criticism that we received when we made people uncomfortable. And I remember that we stopped a war, and I remember that we got a Civil Rights Act passed, which has yet to be enforced.
At an unrelated event today on the city's north side, Governor Mark Dayton again called for the protesters to leave the 4th precinct. A Brooklyn Park man will be in court tomorrow, charged with a severe beating of a police officer during a loud noise complaint call. Prosecutors say dashcam video shows Lance Carr punching the officer's head before grabbing for his gun last weekend. The officer was trying to arrest the 25-year-old on a warrant. Minneapolis police are once again asking for the public's help to help solve a beating that led to a woman's death. Police found 30-year-old Rebecca Anderson injured and unconscious near East Lake Street and 12th Avenue South back on September 3rd. She died on Thanksgiving Day due to her injuries. Investigators say they need the public's help to find her attacker. If you have any information, you're asked to call their tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, charges are expected in the death of a U of M Morris student found dead in a Douglas County cornfield. A coroner determined there were high levels of methamphetamine in Laura Ann Schwendeman's body, but circumstances around how she died are still unclear, so her cause of death was ruled undetermined. A 21-year-old man told investigators that he and Schwendeman injected meth together, and when she overdosed, he hid her body. There is a new drama playing out at the Children's Theater Company tonight after two former students filed a civil lawsuit today. The sex abuse accusations directed at a former artistic director and a former teacher. Lou Raguse joins us with the disturbing claims.
Julie, the lawsuit depicts a culture of sexual abuse at the Children's Theater Company throughout the 1970s and well into the 80s. Founder John Clark Donahue was convicted of molestation, but this is the first public accusation against a successful Minneapolis businessman who used to work there.
This was me at 15. I look like a grown-up.
As a 15-year-old student at the Children's Theater Company in the early 80s, Laura Adams played adult characters.
But I want to emphasize that just because I looked like an adult, I wasn't. I was a child.
In a lawsuit, Adams claims Jason McLean, a former children's theater actor and teacher nearly twice her age at the time, groomed her.
I was flattered, and I welcomed it. I wanted him to pay attention to me.
Then Adams says it went further, and he sexually abused her.
When Jason turned his sights on me, I recognized that he was interested in me because I had seen him being interested in other girls.
McLean is now well known in the Twin Cities business community as the owner of the Loring Pasta Bar and Varsity Theater in Dinkytown. Jason McLean's attorney sent out a statement responding to the lawsuit, saying the same allegations were made in 1984. He says state investigators and the Children's Theater looked into it, but he wasn't charged. He says, quote, he'll defend against this lawsuit with all his might and clear his name.
Jason wasn't the only man abusing children as well. There were other people. This was a culture where that was prevalent.
In the lawsuit, Adams and an unnamed man accused Children's Theater of not doing enough to prevent and stop sexual abuse. The other defendant listed is John Clark Donahue, a founder of Children's Theater, who was convicted in the 80s of molestation. Adams is asking other former students like her to come forward.
There are so many people out there that have not told their stories.
A theater rep sent a statement saying they don't believe the theater was negligent at the time and they'll fight this lawsuit. Now, Adams' attorney, Jeff Anderson, said the accusations from the 80s don't reflect what the Children's Theater is today. Julie?
All right. Thank you, Lou. Well, what a difference a day makes. Last night, the snow was still coming down in the Twin Cities. Tonight, temperatures are on the rebound. Belinda has our first look at the forecast. Belle?
Well, Julie, yes, the remnants of that storm from last night are still rotating around the state. It's been snowing most of the day in northern Minnesota, and that batch of snow is actually edging toward the Twin Cities. So we do expect to get a flurry or two or a light snow shower in the early part of the morning commute tomorrow. You can see that the snow is tracking in and it is rotating around and it is pulling out. In fact, leaving tomorrow, moving out tomorrow with lots of clouds anticipated. So these light snow bands will move in. Today we did top out at 34 degrees. It was 34 as well in Brainerd. We'll give you snow totals coming up. We also have in our weather headlines those morning lingering snow showers. We'll have a November wrap up. Pretty remarkable. November 2015, how it ended up when it comes to rain or precipitation and also temperatures. And then we'll talk about when does that sun return, and of course all about this mild air that we'll have around for quite a while. We'll be back with all those details, Julie.
All right. Thank you, Belle. We will likely know tomorrow if the Minnesota Department of Health will allow more people to take medical marijuana. In question, if people with intractable pain, chronic pain, will be allowed to use it. There were several meetings around the state on the issue. The state technically has until January 1st to make a decision. The Mary Tyler Moore statue will have a new temporary but very public home during the Nicollet Mall renovation. The artwork will be placed at the Minneapolis Visitor Information Center on Nicollet and 5th when the store opens next Monday. It was removed when work began on the mall. The city planned to store it until the renovation was complete, but reconsidered when fans became concerned. Still ahead of 10, a Minnesota Vikings star hits the field with 40 of his biggest and littlest fans. Plus the visit to Santa that has a Twin Cities retirement community buzzing with excitement.
Time and time again, we've reported on veterans leaving us and their VFW holes closing.
And then we walked into this one.
I got friends.
This was not my father's VFW.
Did I tell you?
The VFW defying the odds next in the land of 10,000 stories.
From Maple Lake to Lakeville, a sad trend has continued. VFW halls, those bonding places for veterans, have been steadily closing as aging members pass away. But in tonight's Land of 10,000 Stories, something different. Boyd Hooper takes us to a hip and happening VFW hall that's actually expanding.
When we entered the bar at 2916 Lyndale Avenue, the first thing that struck us was this.
So I got friends.
The place is alive.
No places.
No longer a given when it comes to VFW halls and the older veterans who kept them going.
This was the last one standing in Minneapolis. This is the last VFW in Minneapolis.
From karaoke
#1
to meat raffles to bingo. James Ballantyne Post 246 is one VFW where a full house isn't assumed to mean a going out of business party.
I'm 21.
In fact, just the opposite.
These will be the main doors to come in off of Lyndale.
That's the Senior Vice Commander giving us a tour of the Post's soon-to-open live music room, connected to the new kitchen.
This is going to be the bar right off of Lyndale Avenue.
And the Post's 2 new bars.
I realized that this place is a little bit different.
You may have noticed something about the Post's Senior Vice Commander.
So this is from my unit that we went to Iraq with.
Dominic Anspa is 30 years old.
That's myself and my daughter the day I got back from Afghanistan.
Nice!
And it doesn't end there.
Also Desert Storm and in Operation Just Cause.
James McLoden is here.
Yeah, exactly.
With Gerald Bickford, who served on a ship in the Persian Gulf and now hangs with Gary Miller. The Post Commander, Afghanistan and Iraq.
This was not my father's VFW.
Did I tell you?
There were hot chicks in here. There was music playing. I'm like, this ain't a VFW. You know, we're the 2 old guys arguing about something that happened 40 years ago. You know, that wasn't happening.
What is happening is a mix of older veterans, swooning couples, and neighborhood hipsters.
Don't be a stranger.
All made to feel welcome.
I told my dad a couple of days ago, I'm like, well, we're going, to the VFW tonight. And he's like, I'm sorry, really? You go to the VFW? And I'm like, yeah, that's our go-to spot.
Already blessed with an uptown location, the Post remodel features an Instagram-worthy mural and gleaming glass facade with plans for sidewalk dining, all funded by the developer of that apartment complex that now sits on stilts over the VFW's parking lot.
Not many places in Minneapolis have been able to pull off an air sale, but we're one of them.
Young ideas and older veterans who've graciously stepped aside to let them blossom.
And now we personally have a group of good young soldiers.
Chuck Sass, twice shot down during World War II, can also rest assured that Post 246 will remain his place.
You're on the building committee, I suppose.
The younger vets will keep the current barroom with its back alley entrance and patinaed interior exactly as it is.
It's comfy, like a good pair of jeans.
In 2019, Uptown's VFW will mark its 100th anniversary, a century old, and refusing to act its age. Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Minneapolis.
All right, next, sit down, Sally. That was beautiful. James coming up here. James M is up.
The young vets believe their bonding experience at the Uptown VFW is more important now than ever, given the high suicide rate among veterans. They also express pride in the donations they've been able to make to veterans' causes and community groups. Let's head outside to Belinda for a look at the forecast. Hi, Belle.
Hi, Julie. Look like a great place there, no question. We actually have a pretty warm week ahead moving forward after today. Let's start up by taking a look at December 1st and see how we did today. We were very close to average today, as you can see, 34, 32 the average, 68 the record set back in 1998, and after midnight, about 1/10 of an inch of snow that fell across the region. So for the month of November, probably wouldn't surprise you, we ended up obviously quite warm. Look at all those red days, only 6 days below average, 7.6 degrees above average, lots of 70s and 60s at the beginning of the month, and then a few chilly days at the end of the month. So the month in review does show that we ended up 7.6 degrees above average with an average temperature of 41.3. The average high, by the way, was 49. So that puts us as the 4th warmest November in history. Also, when it comes to precipitation, you notice here we had quite a bit, 4.5 inches, a lot of that rain in just a few number of days. We only had 10 days with precipitation, and then the snow adding to that gives us the 6th wettest November. So warm and wet as we wrapped up the month of November. Now, this is what's left of the storm that came in that last day of November. Coming down the North Shore, quite a bit of snow falling right now. Visibility is less than a half a mile. And this will rotate out as the rain moves up the East Coast. This will move forward. And then we do anticipate having quite a bit of cloud cover tomorrow, but the sun will return. The overall pattern for the next couple of weeks, looking at a bunch of data today, it does look like we're going to have a very warm December, at least the first 2.5 weeks. I know that's not what folks that want to ice fish or snowmobile or even ski, cross-country ski, want to hear, but that is the trend. It looks like the jet is going to retreat up to the north and stay there for a while. That's going to allow the temperatures to bubble up from the south, and those temperatures are pretty warm. 65 in Phoenix, 51 Oklahoma City, even 54 in New York before the rain came in, and here in the Twin Cities right about where we should be at 34. So the cooler air, which is really still above average, will move north. When it comes to how much snow fell, well, to the east, not too much. 1.5 inches Balsam Lake. To the west and southwest, quite a bit. 9.5 inches of snow in Madison. And Maplewood had 5.6, the airport 3.9, so that's the official, and in Prior Lake 1.1. So it was really quite a varied storm depending on where you were, and that was all because of the temperatures. When that temperature rose just a degree or two, we did get some rain mixing in, and that lowered our amounts, no question there. So we have just a slight chance of a light snow shower in the morning. Otherwise, just cloudy skies all day tomorrow. That sun sets now at 4:30. Then tomorrow night will clear out, and we expect that sun to return on Thursday, and it returns and it actually sticks around for a while. Here's your 7-day forecast for tomorrow. We will top out at 38. We'll start at 28 in the morning. The temperatures will warm to 38, maybe a break or two in the cloud cover. A little optimistic there, but why not be optimistic as we go through the next 7 days? Not too difficult if you don't mind. Obviously it being above average, 40 degrees on Friday, sun returns on Thursday, and then remaining in the 40s for the weekend all the way through Monday. And Julie, the average high on Monday is supposed to be 30 degrees as we move through the first weekend of December.
Pretty lucky. Hey, Bella, I was thinking.
Yes?
We should go to that VFW because we both like a meat raffle.
We do.
Karaoke and bingo.
And pull tabs.
Oh my gosh. It's
and
like...
beer.
And we better stop now.
We can keep going. Darts. We like darts, Julie.
Thank you,
Okay,
Belle.
we're going to go there.
The holiday season has officially arrived at the governor's residence. The mansion's decked out with decorations and will hold public tours over the next 2 Tuesdays. They run from 10 to noon on December 8th and 15th. Visitors are encouraged to bring a non-perishable food item or a winter coat for donation. Coming up in sports, the Wild look for an upset against the Stanley Cup champs. Plus, the Wolves take it down to the wire with the Magic. Perk has highlights next.
KARE 11 Sports from the Mayo Clinic Sports Medicine Sports Desk.
One way to turn around a losing streak, beating the champs on their ice. Great victory tonight by the Minnesota Wild against the Chicago Blackhawks. Pre-game, the Wild donning the stocking caps they'll be wearing for the outdoor game against the same Blackhawks team in February. And there it is, Wild striking first. Jason Pominville knocking in the rebound past Corey Crawford. And it's Palmer's second goal in 2 games, but later Patrick Kane does what he does best, score goals, and we're all square after 2, but that's the only one Devin Dubnyk yields tonight in Chicago. Trying to win it, Mikael Granlund with the shot that won't go in, but Ryan Suter is there with the knockback. 2-1 Game winner. Losing streak snapped, back on track in a big way. Mike Modano is coming back to play for Minnesota. He'll be on the North Stars and Wild team February 20th in the alumni game of the Stadium Series. The lineups for both Minnesota and Chicago were announced today. The game will also mark the return of Dino Ciccarelli, Neil Broughton, and a whole host of other past hockey greats here from the state of hockey. Lou Nanne will be Minnesota's head coach for that game. 2-7 at home. Timberwolves dump another one at Target Center tonight, falling in a heartbreaker to the Orlando Magic. Magic getting in front in this game, led by Nikola Vucevic, who scores 18. One of a half dozen Orlando players in double figures tonight. Wolves try to storm back, and thanks to aggressive plays like this from Shabazz Muhammad, they do just that. Nice, Baz. Andrew Wiggins leads Minnesota tonight with 27 points. Great effort here on the putback. But with the cards on the table, Wiggins is unable to make the second of 2 free throws, and the Magic end up winning by 3. Doggone it. Well, hoping Park can knock it out of the park, the Twins are able to get a deal done with Korean slugger Byung-ho Park after ponying up close to $13 million just to get the rights to negotiate with Park. Twins had 30 days to get a deal done, and with about a week to go, they inked the 29-year-old right-handed first baseman. It's a 4-year deal for about $12 million. Twins are banking on this guy to have some bang for the Bucks. He hit 53 homers last year in Korea. Should be the team's DH. We've been talking about Gopher women hosting NCAA volleyball tournament games this weekend, but Concordia St. Paul has been doing some incredible things as well on the court these days. They are the top seed of the Central Regional Tournament and host the tourney for the 8th time since 2003. Go Golden Bears.
We're pretty deep with our depth that we've had. We've had some injuries and some other kids that have just been able to kind of step up and fill those roles well. So it kind of speaks to, I think, the depth that we have in our team this year compared to maybe last year and years past.
Still trying to get back from that knee injury, Harrison Smith and his Vikings teammates pairing up with the big brothers, big sisters of the Greater Twin Cities for their second annual Kicking It with Harrison kickball game out at Winter Park today. Fun night there. And by the way, he is very involved with that charity. That's sports. KARE 11 News back after this.
Before we go, a Bloomington couple proves you can never be too old to believe in the spirit of Santa Claus. 91-year-old Mary Wyatt Peterson and 93-year-old Dr. Bill Peterson snapped this picture with old St. Nick at the Tonkadale Greenhouse last weekend. Mary leaned in for a kiss while her hubby of 16 years laughed. Their daughter says the picture will make for a memorable Christmas card.
That is an awesome photo.
Someone's telling me they've been married more than 16 years. You think?
You never know.
Nope, only 16 years. All right. Still, they met later in life. Well, there you go. One of their daughters snapped the picture.
Very happy.
I love it. That made us all happy tonight. Thanks for sharing it. Have a good night, everybody.